In performance consideration, we'll concentrate on how to improve the performance of the given computer. A key design objective of a computer system is to achieve the best possible performance at the lowest possible cost. We need not to demand more with respect to cost. We have to go with a less cost, so that with that we have to improve the performance, which is called as a price performance ratio in common measure. The performance of a processor depends on how fast machine will get the instruction. It means from hard disk, secondary memory to the processor, how fast we can get the data. So because already processor is too fast, so if you want to keep the processor as busy as possible, we have to have a technology which can bring the data from the slower memory to the fastest processor. For that, we have introduced the concept of virtual memory, and there we had a RAM. In again we had a cache. Again we had levels of cache and registers and processor. This is the sequence we have got. And by using all these, can we add additional things, or can we change some technology inside it so that we can improve the performance still more? That is what we are going to discuss in this video. First, we'll see interleaving. The interleaving discuss about the dividing the given memory system into number of memory modules logically. So each memory module will be having two registers, two buffers. One is a address buffer register, the other one is a data buffer register. It is just like a MAR and MDR. MAR will be keeping track of memory address register, and MDR is memory data register. Like that, here we will be having a modules for the given data. Complete memory is divided into modules, and for each module we'll be having a address buffer register and data buffer register. And we should arrange these in a such a way that successive words can be accessed easily. We should not do extra, we should not add a additional logic to find the successive words. We should access them easily. That is what is arranging the address, so that successive words in the address space are placed in different modules so that they can be accessed parallelly. When request for memory access involves consecutive addresses, the access will be to different modules. So when I'm having access to consecutive addresses, the system will be accessing consecutive modules, different modules, so that the task can be done parallelly. Since a parallel access to these modules is possible, so which is when it comes to parallel task, of course it's going to increase the performance of the computer. We'll see what are the interleaving techniques proposed. There are two methods which is proposed for interleaving. The individual address are distributed over the module is critical in determining the average number of modules that can be kept busy as computation proceed. Two methods of address layout are indicated over here. The first case, the memory address generated by the processor is decoded as the memory address, total memory address is given by the processor, is decoded as k bits and m bits. The higher order k bits name one of n module, and the lower order m bits name particular word in the module. So higher order concentrates on the any one module out of this, and lower order will concentrate on the word inside the module. When consecutive locations are accessed, as happens when a block of data transfer is to the cache, only one module will be involved. At the same time, however, the device with a DMA, direct memory access, which we have discussed in the second module, ability may be accessing the information in other memory modules. This is going to access the respective module, and this is going to access the respective word in the module. But this is not going to give the better performance compared to the second model. We'll see how the second model is going to work. The second model and is a more effective way of addressing the modules in the given memory. This model is called as the interleaving model. The low order k bits of the memory address selects the module, and the high order m bits names the location within the module. In this way, the consecutive addresses are located in successive module. Thus, any component of the system that generates the request for access to the consecutive memory location can keep several modules busy at any given time. The result of this is going to improve the performance of the computer. So here the parallel access of the module is supported, but here, because k bits are used to represent the module, what happens is in a given time only one module can be accessed. But here, because of the lower uh, values, so we can access multiple lower values, lower address bits are used for representing a module. We can use multiple modules in a given time, so which is going to implement the concept of parallel processing. Let's see the example and we'll see whether we can improve the performance or not. So here they have given a example. Consider the time needed to transfer a block of data from the main memory to cache when read miss occurs. So when there is a concept of hit, we need not to worry. When there is a concept of miss, then only we have to worry. Suppose that a cache with 8 word blocks is used. The cache is having 8 word blocks. On read miss, the block that contains the desired word must be copied from the main memory into the cache. This is what we know. When there is a miss, we have to bring the data from RAM to cache. Assume that hardware has the following properties. The hardware what we are using is having these properties. It takes one clock cycle to send the address to the main memory. The hardware takes one clock cycle to send the address to main memory. So one clock is now utilized. The memory is built with a relatively slow DRAM chip. So I have told in the previous video that cache will be built with a SRAM and RAM will be built with a DRAM chip, so which is slower than SRAM. So that allows the first word to be accessed in 8 cycles. Because we are having a 8 word block, so it takes 8 cycles delay to access the first word, but the remaining subsequent will be accessed in a 4 clock cycles per word. We are going to access 4 clock cycles. And finally, we need 1 clock cycle to send the word to the cache. 1 clock cycle to send the address, 1 clock cycle to send the data. And to locate, we need 8 clock cycles for first one, and remaining we need, for remaining all words, we need 7 clock cycles. Sorry, 4 clock cycles for remaining 7 words. The total will be 1 plus 8. The 1 is for transferring the address. 8 is for getting the first word, and the remaining will be 7 into 4. Remaining all 7 words will be accessed in 4 clock cycle, and 1 clock cycle to send the data. Total will be getting 38 clock cycles we need without interleaving. We need 38 clock cycles to access 8 word blocks from the memory. Let's apply the interleaving what we have discussed in the previous diagram. Let's see how we can improve. Now the memory is constructed as 4 interleaved modules using the same scheme what we have discussed in the diagram. When the starting address of the block arrives at the memory, all 4 modules begins accessing the required data. Here parallelly all 4 modules are accessing together using the high order bits of the address. After 8 clock cycles, each module has 1 word of the data in data buffer register. These words are transferred to the cache 1 word at a time during the next 4 clock cycles. So once we got the data in next 4 clock cycles, we are going to send the data of the first word whatever we read. During this time, the next word in the each module is accessed. First we got 4 words. Next, in meantime we are sending the data to the processor, we got the remaining 4 words. Then that also takes 4 clock cycles to transfer the data. Therefore, the total time required is 1 plus 8 clock cycles for total data accessing, and 4 plus 4 for sending the data. Totally we got 17 clock cycles. Previously we got without interleaving, we have achieved the same task with the 38 clock cycles, but now we have achieved the same with the 17 clock cycles. It means the performance is of the system is improved with the help of interleaving by the factor of 2. It has doubled. Next, we'll see some definition of hit rate and miss penalty or miss rate, which I have discussed more in the previous example of mapping algorithms. Hit rate is the total accumulation, total sum of all the hits whenever the processor is requesting for a series of blocks from the cache. If all those blocks are available on the cache, yes, that is the total number of blocks is equal to total hit rate. If there are some miss, so the hit will be counted and miss will be counted, which I have explained how to count in the previous video. So that summation is called as a miss rate or miss penalty. Why we call it as a penalty miss? Because when it happens a miss, we have to do something more, like we have to spend some time. That is the time is the thing which we are going to pay as a penalty over here. But how we can improve this? How to increase the hit rate, how to reduce the miss penalty. So hit rate can be improved by increasing the block size. So we can increase the block size so that we can get more data within one block and the hit rate will be more. So, but we should keep track that we should remember that cache size also. We should remember the each word line of the cache. So what we have to do here is neither we should not create a small chunk of blocks, nor we should not come up with a larger blocks. So we have to take up only simple blocks which is neither small nor larger, so that medium blocks will results in the best result, which will improve the hit rate. And coming to the miss penalty, rather than I have discussed again this in the write through protocol. So instead of waiting until the complete data will be loaded to cache, then I will be processing it. What we can do is we can perform the task immediately once the part of the partial data has been came to the cache. The start computing on that data. Meanwhile, the computation takes place. The remaining part will come. Meanwhile, the remaining part will be added. So processor will not be idle. Processor should be kept as busy as possible. For that, rather than using the write back or read back protocol, what you have to do is we have to use load through or write through protocols, so that it is going to keep the processor as busy as possible, where the miss penalty will be less and hit rate can improve. Let's see the example. This can be done with the multiple levels of cache. We can have a single cache at the processor. Nowadays we are having a processors which will be having L1, L2, L3 caches. So let's see one example where a processor is having only one level of cache and how the performance will be improved. Consider now the impact of the cache on the overall performance of the computer. Let H be the hit rate, M be the miss penalty. That is the time to access information in the main memory, and C is the time, M is the miss penalty, and C is the time to access the information in the cache. The average access time can be calculated with the formula T average is equal to hit rate into the cache time, which is there in the cache time which is used to access the data, and 1 minus h. 1 minus h means it is miss penalty into the miss penalty. We use the same parameters what we have discussed in the previous example, that we got 38 clock cycles to read 8 blocks of word from the memory without interleaving, and 17 clock cycles to read 8 blocks of memory with interleaving of 4 modules in interleaving. parallelly we accessed 4 modules together. So we achieved a factor of 2 improvement. So we got 17 clock cycles to access. So with the same example, we are continuing over here. If the computer has no cache, then using the fast processor and a typical DRAM main memory, it takes 10 clock cycles. Without a cache, it takes 10 clock cycles for each memory read access. For read access, it takes 10 clock cycles without cache. Suppose the computer has the cache that holds 8 word block in the interleaved memory. It can hold 8 words, which we have seen in the before, a cache of 8 words. Then as we have seen, 17 clock cycles will be used. A continuation, assume that 30% of the instructions in the typical program performs a read or write operation, which means that there are 130 memory accesses. So the 30% of the program going to have read write access, so it is 130 memory access for every 100 instructions executed. Assume that the hit rate in the cache is 0.95 for instruction, 0.9 for data. So 0.95 for instruction and 0.9 for operands. Let's assume the miss penalty is same for both read and write access. Same 0.95 and 0.9 for read and write. Then rough estimate of the improvement in the performance that results from the using the cache can be given as time without cache is 130 into 10. We have seen it takes 10 clock cycles without cache, divided by 100 instructions. Out of 100 instruction, we have 0.95 on the cache and 1 plus 0.005 remaining data into 17. 17 is the interleaved clock cycles for a processor, and remaining 30 out of 100, the remaining 30 will be data. Data operands will be taking 0.9 into 1, which is there in the cache, plus the remaining 0.1 from this and 17 clock cycles. Now we got 5.04. The result is suggesting that with cache we are improving the performance of the computer 5 times better than without cache. This is how, by introducing a one level of cache, we can improve the performance by 5 times. Next we will see it is also interesting to consider that how effective this cache compared to an ideal cache that has a hit rate of 100%. When there is a cache which is always giving us hit rate, so we will compare how our we'll have a rough estimate of performance improvement. See, 130, we don't have we are considering that all the data that 130 instructions are available on the cache, and sorry, we are getting all those on the processor, and remaining with cache on the top I have given from the same data, that 100 instructions with 0.95 and 30 instructions with 0.9. So still 1.98. This means that actual cache provides an environment in which processor effectively works with a large DRAM based on the main memory that appears to be 2 times slower than the circuit in the cache, which is going to work on the processor which is still slower. So with a cache it is faster. In this example, just a simplifying assumptions are made that the same clock is used to access the one chip cache and the main memory. Here all the things are synchronous, and the transmission time between processor to RAM and RAM to cache to RAM is same. We have considered ideal have discussed. Next we'll see cache on the processor chip. So let's have a level 2 cache. In high performance processor, 2 level of caches are normally used. Right now in the market we are having 3 levels of cache. The L1 cache is on the top of the processor chip, and the L2 cache, which is much larger than which is implemented externally using the SRAM outside the processor, but somewhat smaller than smaller, L2 cache may also be implemented on the processor chip. If both L1 and L2 cache are used, the L1 cache should be designed to allow very fast access, and L2 cache will be having little slow. A cache cannot be accessed at the same speed as a register file, because we have seen the general purpose registers in the first module discussion. So we cannot access the cache as fast as register files, because registers are very tiny, which will be in terms of bits and bytes, but cache is in terms of MBs. So we cannot access as fast as we were accessing the register with a cache. The cache is much bigger, and hence it's accessing also having a more complex. L2 cache can be slower because it is bigger than L1 cache. It again goes with the size. If the size is increasing, the speed is also increasing. Sorry, speed is also decreasing, which we have seen in the hierarchy. But it should be much larger to ensure the high hit rate. Yeah, L2 should have more space, so that our ultimate intention is to increase the hit rate, reduce the miss penalties. The formula for the cache with processor with a 2 level of cache is just an expansion of the previous one, where H1 is a cache hit rate on the L1 cache, H2 is a hit rate on the L2 cache, C is a cache, C1 is a cache 1 access time, and C2 is a cache 2 access time, and L1, L2 are the levels. M is the time to access the memory information from the main. So this is the formula which has given for L2 cache. Let's see one example from the exercise, how the performance will be improved. Assume the computer has L1 and L2 cache as discussed. The cache blocks consists of 8 words, same configuration we are dealing now. Assume that the hit rate of the cache is same for both cache, and that is for 0.95 for instruction, 0.9 for data. Assume also that the time needed to access the 8 word block cycles in the cache 1, C1 is 1 and C2 is 10 clock cycles. So for accessing the data at the cache level 1 is 1 clock cycle, and at the cache level 2 is 10 clock cycles. So they have given something, what is the average access time experienced by processor if the main memory uses interleaving. If it is going to use interleaving, what is the average access time? What is the average access time if the main memory is not used the interleaving? What is the improvement obtained with the interleaving? First we have to calculate with interleaving, second without interleaving, and finally calculate the difference. The formula for H1, H2 and H for instruction, it is same, 0.95 and 0.9 for data. The formula is given as like before, we have written over here. With interleaving means we have calculated in the previous discussion that 17 clock cycles. Without interleaving means we have calculated 38 clock cycles. So for that we will substitute the values, we will get 2.0585 cycles for the same data. Without interleaving, where M is 38, then the average time will be 2.174. So without interleaving, the average access time will be 2.174 by 2.0585. It means 1.05 times it is longer. Without interleaving takes 1.056 times longer than the with interleaving. Next, what else we can add along with the cache? We can add buffers also. So we have seen write through protocol and write back protocol when I'm discussing with respect to cache video in the video number 4. Here we'll see for the same, can we have any buffer? Each write operation involves writing to the main memory when we are performing the write through protocol. If the processor has to wait for a write operation, then it is going to slow down the processor. So processor does not need to depend on the result of the writing operation. So write buffer can be included temporarily. Like buffer job is to have some temporary storage so that it can improve the performance. Processor places the each write request into the buffer and continuous execution. If a subsequent read request refers to the data which is still in the write buffer, then this data is referenced in the write buffer. So if it is available in the buffer, then it can be accessed faster than the it is available in the memory. Write back protocol. Block is written back to the main memory when it is replaced. We have seen we are using their modified bit or dirty bit. Based on that, we are going to think that like, yeah, we have to update this in the RAM. So if the processor waits for the this write to complete before reading the new block, it will slow down. Like when it is performing a replacement, it has to perform the write operation because of the write back protocol. Rather than that, what processor can, like what the write back buffer can do, it can hold the value for temporary in the buffer, and it can fetch the new required uh, block onto the cache, so that processor need not to wait. Fast write buffers can hold the block to be written, and then new block can be read first. That is what by having these intermediate buffers, still we can improve the performance of the compute. Rather than this, still we are having one more technique, prefetching. Prefetching is the technique where we are going to get the data before it is required. New data are brought into the processor when they are first needed. Processor has to wait before the data transfer is complete. Prefetch the data into the cache before they are actually needed. Before the processor demands, we have to bring it to the prefetched buffer, or before a read miss occurs. Prefetching can accomplish through software. Yeah, we can use prefetching can be done with the software coding, or else we can use the hardware. So inclusion of a prefetch instruction increases the length of the program. Prefetching can also be accomplished using the hardware. Circuit that attempts to discover the patterns in a memory reference and then prefetches according to the pattern. So here this goes with a spatial locality. So before processor needs it, we should predict and we should bring it. So that can be done with the two ways. One is software, like we can add more instruction to predict what can be required. So that is, again, if you are going to add such type of logic, again program length will be increased, and of course it's going to again take much time to compute. Or else we can come up with the hardware. So if we are adding hardwares, like we can have some circuit to predict the same which is required in the frequent, then we can add up. So which we have seen similar architecture with the pipelining and superscalar operation with respect to hardware. The last one with respect to improvement of the performance is lock up free cache. Prefetching scheme does not work if it stops other access to the cache until the prefetch is completed. Prefetching needs it has to be completed. If somebody else is interrupting in between, so it's going to be slower. A cache of this type is called locked, while service is a miss. So when some others are using, the cache will be locked. The cache structure which supports the multiple outstanding misses is called a lockup free cache. So such type of uh, cache which is going to support this type of outstanding misses is called as a lockup free cache. Since only one miss can be serviced at a time, we cannot serve more than one miss. A lockup free cache must include a circuit that keeps track of all the outstanding misses. All the requests it has to keep track, and only one request will be served in a given time, which is the job of the lockup free cache. Special register may hold the necessary information about these misses. We may need some special instructions which runs the special register hardware again, so to handle this lockup free cache. These are all the things through which we can still improve the performance of the computer by having a interleaving, by having a levels of cache, and by having by changing the block size of the uh, cache, and we can come up with some buffers, and we can have prefetch buffer, we can have lockup free cache buffer. So by having all these things, we can improve the performance.